Hi everyone, thank you for watching my previous videos. In my previous session I have covered the topic on object management like tables, indexes, triggers. Today I am going to discuss on monitoring under diagnosis of cluster or databases. There are three kinds of monitoring in place. One is reactive monitoring, second one is proactive monitoring, third one is predictive monitoring. Reactive monitoring means if there is an issue while running a batch job or any performance issues, DBA will get engaged and DBA will perform health check in DB level. If any issues identified, then they will fix the issue and application team will rerun their jobs. The next one is proactive monitoring. Based on the scenarios faced by both application team and DBA team will perform all kinds of sanity checks before running their jobs. Okay, as well as DBA will set up monitoring and alerting for all of his databases so that it will notify him in case of any issues like table space issues or any errors reported in a log file and so on. The final one is predictive monitoring, where the DBA will capture the statistics of the database on a regular interval and store in a central repository. Later he will analyze the data. Based on the outcome, he can predict the behavior of the application as well as growth of the database and so on. Based on that, okay, he can plan for the resources like number of CPUs, memory required and storage required and so on. There are different types of tools available in the market for monitoring and alerting like PostgreSQL Enterprise Manager, PG-, JavaX, Nagios and so on. Part of this session I am going to cover the following topics like how to check whether who are all connected to my cluster and what are all queries are running, how long the query is running, identifying the blocking sessions and terminating the blocking session. For this I am going to use PG admin utility. So before starting my demo, let me show my environment details over here. This is the host of my PostgreSQL where my DB is up and running, and this is the port and this is the database I'm going to use, and the user is app3 owner. Okay, let me go to my DB server. I have a couple of clusters running over here. For this demo purpose I'm going to use this and I'm going to connect. Okay, just let me execute small statement here which will show who is the user connected to the database. Okay, now let me go here, go to the database, go to tools, select query tools, let me load my queries over here. So as part of this I would like to know who are all users connected. Okay, there are so many users, right? And these are all background processes. Let me select a specific user. Use name. Okay, so PG underscore stat underscore activity is a very important view where you will find very useful information. which database I connected and which user, okay, and what is the tool I used to connect to the database, so on. So okay, now part of demo, let me insert few records. Okay, let it get execute. Now you can execute the same statement. Who are all active users, might be completed, add big number, execute again. Okay, and it will show who are all running now, and you can see the SQL statement over here as well. Okay, similarly, if you want to see who are all running for a long time, right, more than 10 seconds, if you want to see, you can execute this statement. Okay, and this guy is still executing. Good, completed. Now let me show one scenario like deadlock scenario. Let me start my transaction. Let me update the table. I have executed this. Okay, now open to query tools, go over here, pick similar statement, keep it to over here. Now I created a scenario called deadlock. Okay, now if you want to see, you can go to dashboard. This will also show the deadlock scenario over here. Okay, this particular statement or session is waiting. Okay, and this is the guy who is blocker, who is the blocker, right? So similarly, you can go and execute here. There are a couple of update statements here. One of the session state is ideal in transaction. The other guy is in active state for longer time. Okay, since the table is in big in nature and there is no index on this particular table, that is the reason why this particular update statement is running for quite long time. So in order to terminate, there are a couple of options. You can just note down the ID of the session. One way is you can click this cross button to terminate the session. The other way is just execute this statement, which will terminate. I terminated the session. Okay, let me see. Sorry, this seems to be not the right one. Just refresh. Yeah, the number which it is there before is the old one, so please ignore. The ID of the session is 3010. Go over here, execute. See, now the statement output is showing us true. Good. This statement executed successfully. And what happened to this? Let us just try to execute one statement. Since I terminated, it will clearly shows the output over here saying that this particular session was terminated. Okay, so we can kill this way, or as I said, you can go here and you can kill like this as well. It is one and the same. Okay, now let us move to the other one, which is pg underscore stat underscore statements. This is very useful view where you can find like how many times a specific executable statement was executed and its statistics as well. Okay, but this particular view won't be available by default. For that you need to install an extension and you need to set one database parameter that I will show now. Okay, let me go to DB server, let me connect. Okay, okay, so before that, what are all extensions available in cluster level or DB level, you can use this way. Okay, you have right now only one extension. Let me create an extension now. pg underscore stat underscore state. Okay, sorry, it must be super user. Okay, created. You can see what all extensions in DB level now. Okay, good. Now what you need to do, you need to go to here, open your configuration file here, search for shared underscore preload. Okay, this one you need to set it to pg underscore stat underscore statements. Okay, which requires cluster restart. Okay, now let me connect Postgres. Connect any user. Okay, just execute one simple statement. Okay, now let me go over here. Let me execute pg underscore stat underscore okay, since the cluster restarted, it will ask me to restart. Okay, I understand why it is showing, because this package was created by Postgres and host default schema is public schema. I will show that for you. Let me connect with Postgres. Let me see who is the default schema for this user. That is public. Okay, that is the reason why you need to call out very clearly. Select star from public dot. Okay, here you can see what are all statements executed and how many times. Okay, let me try to insert one small record here. Super. Now let me come over here and see. If you want specifically where query like okay, you can see here you inserted one row. Similarly, if I insert another row, okay, you can see again it will tell that you executed twice. Suppose if there is a change in query, for example, generate small change in my query. Okay, again execute this. You will find two entries over here. Okay, because this syntax is different, the other one is different. You can see how many times it was executed, and you can see how many rows it processed, and there are so many other statistics also available. Okay, before going to next slide, let me explain why I used public dot. Because the current schema for this user is not public. There is app3 schema. That is the reason why I used public dot. Okay, because the default schema for Postgres user is public. That is the reason why the object, whatever the extension, whatever I created, it's set under public schema. Okay, now let me go to the other slide. So in this I'm going to cover the database size, table size, table space size, index size, and identifying table and index bloating. Okay, let me go here. This is the way you can find the database size. Okay, similarly you can find all the table spaces sizes over here, and if you want to know a specific table size, you can use this way. Okay, and if you want to know the size of the index, you can use this way. Okay, good. So now let me explain what is bloating, right? Bloating is something that can develop over a period of time. For that, let me show the demo of that. For this purpose, let me open brand new query tool. Okay, let me check the size of the table with this query. Okay, you can see number of rows and size of the table. For this demo purpose, what I'm going to do, I'm going to disable auto vacuum. Good. Okay, now you can see whether auto vacuum is enabled for this table or not. Here it is set to false. Okay, now let me show. So what I'm doing here is I'm deleting all the records over here. Okay, now we deleted all the records. Okay, now let me execute the same statement. Okay, so I deleted all the records, but the table size not came down. Okay, let me do true, means let me enable this. Okay, now auto vacuum is enabled. It may take some time. Let me see. Okay, it's true. Again, let me set it to false. Okay, okay, I'm just enabling and disabling auto vacuum option. By the time it triggered, the moment I enabled true, right, it enabled auto vacuum, and it's purged all the records as well as the size came down to 0. Okay, basically there will be more number of deletions and updations in any table, right? If auto vacuum is not running by any chance, then the bloating will increase. Okay, then it will cause lots of performance problems. I will talk more about auto vacuum in my next session. There are different set of parameters which we can define in PostgreSQL.conf, which will add extra information in the log file and useful while troubleshooting issues. Below are some of the parameters which we can define in configuration file. Okay, with this I am closing my session today. If you like my session, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.